Started the recording, and here you go. So we are working on the API keys, and application URL is not mandatory, so you can just go ahead and give it out. So can you see that these are the email IDs and account IDs? Okay, so everyone will have their own email ID, and if you want to see they have added API key in the end, right? So you also need to send out something like this with bearer token as well. And this is our API key that we are using. Let's save it in Notepad because we may lose it. Okay, with respect to authorization and authentication, you have this. So these are all the APIs. If you see here, APOD is the astronomy picture of the day. Okay, and asteroids are what are the asteroids that are available near us. Okay, but the basic idea is they will also give you how to access this API keys or how to work on this APIs or this particular URLs. See, this is like any particular application that you want to make. In YouTube, if you are going, let's open it in new tab. So if you can see that, okay, I open this one. Can you see that there is a URL that's getting updated with V and as well as channel? Please unmute.
Yes, Vajra.
Okay. So now what's happening is YouTube is making authentication from the user ID and password that I have. But if you are making uh, with UiPath, there is no user ID and password, right?
Yeah.
Sindhura, hi.
Yeah, hi.
Sindhura, have you completed the payment?
Yes, I have completed the payment.
Okay, yeah, please continue. Okay, fine. So this particular asteroid API that we are working on is with respect to this particular URL. If you are seeing this, okay, now I have this API. But if I want to make an API key, okay, this is what I'll have. Let's go ahead and give it out here. So what is it saying? It's asking me a start date, it's asking me an end date, and it's asking me an API key. So can I just replace this API key?
Yes.
Okay. So what I'll do, I'll just replace this API key. Now this went here, and start date and end date, I should have some specific format. Okay, see here, default none, end date, ending day for asteroid search. So we need to give some information like this. So here is the example query, NASA API feed, start date is this one and end date is this one and this is the demo. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy this and let's change the API key. So this is the demo key, right? So I think using demo key also you can get it, but yeah. So once you get it, you can go to URL web browser and search. So can you see all the links that you are getting? But these links are the information that we need to populate. Okay, so let's understand how we can do that. So JSON viewer is my online website that I can go and check. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just add this particular your data, copy and paste it and view it. So if you can just see with the view, so there are three objects. Okay, this particular complete item is divided into three objects. First one is the links. So next page, if I want to go, I can go with this link. So previous page, if I want to go, I can go with this link. And self current page is this one. Okay. So in pagination, like in Amazon.in. So if you go ahead and search something, so let's search for books, and you will be able to see some pagination at the bottom, like first, last, and all. Previous page, next page. So can you see the implementation now? So what they're in the backend doing is they're actually implementing or assigning this next button with this link or with whatever link that they give. So even Amazon is using the APIs, but they are showing you the website because you will not be able to understand the APIs as a user. Okay. So if I go ahead and open this, open link in new tab, again I'll have some more results. So if I go ahead and check with previous, then I will have. So this is not the information that we require, but what we require is this one. So we have two asteroids and near Earth objects. On 1598 we have 12, 1597 we have a different one. So let's go ahead and see one. So in that we have one more object and this is the one. So how can we filter out this particular link that I want to see, NASA JPL URL? Let's go ahead and open this in new tab. Small body database lookup. So this is with this particular ID and this is having these details. So irrespective of what data it is, if you want to go ahead and get this particular link, then how should you navigate? On the top, can you see that there is an object? In
Yes,
that
yes, sir.
object, we have a near earth object, near earth objects. In that, we have a separate array of
Yes.
15908. In that, we are opening 0th item and then we are opening NASA JPL URL.
Water.
Okay, so if you see here, the name which is available here is the same name that's also available in here. Okay, and the absolute magnitude is 20.36. We should have it somewhere here. So Control F, 20.36. So can you see here? There is an absolute magnitude. So whatever data they are using, they are showing it in the website. So we are fetching it in from UiPath. That's it. Let's go with UiPath now and let's see how we can make the implementation. UiPath Studio. So we should be having some API project already in place. Let me just quickly search for that. So let's go with GitHub. In GitHub, let's go with my repository and show in Explorer. And let's open Vajrang Team 6 random user. So I'll use the same code. Okay. So now I'm creating a new sequence. Let's go with flowchart. See, there is always not a requirement that you need to go only with sequence. Depending upon the use case, you can go ahead with anything that you want. Even you can go with state mission. So this is NASA API. Okay. So let's go with picture of the day. So what is this picture of the day? Let's see the picture of the day. So this is a pod. Let's see what we are getting with this particular ID. Okay. I'll go with this and I will add. So if I go and search for this data, again, I'm getting only JSON here. So I'll go back to my JSON viewer and I'll see. So this is having copyright, date, explanation, HT media service, whatever the media you are having, and the URL, the complete page URL. Okay. So how can we download the images also? What we will see. So let's copy this and let's paste it. Excuse me. So this is the image that they are giving out. So every time you make or every day it will be a different ID or different image. So let's go ahead and work on it. And UiPath, where is UiPath? Okay, here it is. Let's go with this. So what is the first thing that I need to do for any API to be accessible? Do I need to check whether my packages are available or not? Do I have them already? So no need to work on fetching the web packages. So I can directly go with HTTP request. So what is the difference between orchestrator HTTP request and this HTTP request? Can anyone please tell what is the difference? Okay, so HTTP request is any kind of APIs you can call with HTTP request, but orchestrator HTTP request will work only with when you're connected to an orchestrator with Studio. Only then it will work. Let's go ahead with endpoint URL. Excuse me. So we
For
have
orchestrator, sorry, can we use the normal HTTP request also?
yes, we can.
Okay.
So we are having this APOD, and then we are having this authentication method. Simple HTTP request. Username and password is what it's asking. Let's go because this is not username and password. Let's go with a parameter. So parameters you are having. So this is add URL segment. So when you add URL segment, how can you get to know? Because this is there in here. API key is the URL segment. This is coming in the URL. So whatever URL you have here, this will be replicated using these properties. See, I have the API key and the value. So I'm adding this value. Okay, and let's see with preview. So API key is missing is what it's saying. So this is not a URL segment. Let's see HTTP header. Let's see that. Again, no API key URL. Okay, let me just get out post preview. Okay, so it is saying that we are not able to access this particular ID using these. So what is it exactly saying? Request URL, this one. If you can see here, this is the ID, right? A pod and then question mark and all the slash we have. So API key we have, a pod we have. So how exactly is it going to work? API key, a pod. So if we just have, instead of, if you see the URL, the issue is with this particular ID, this slash and then the value. But if you do that in browser, you are also going to get the same value. So I'll go back and I will see if it is working with me in my browser with slash. So after apod, there is a slash while working with the code. Okay, but it removed the API slash after it, but in code it's not removing, or in UiPath it's not removing. So I can do one more thing. Instead of having it like this, let's go ahead and add a URL segment. Let's see if we can add a URL segment. And a pod, we don't require anything. So a pod. Let's see where we are getting this particular a pod. So a pod value is null, so we are not getting. The only other way that I can think of is, let's go ahead and remove this, delete, and remove this and delete. So this particular URL is static, but whatever data that we are having, this particular API key, that can be different for different people. Is it right? So I'll go ahead and add an ascend statement before this ascend statement. So I'll just go ahead and change this path from here to here, and I will give HTTP request after this. So first I'll build the HTTP request or NASA API str underscore NASA API. So again, I will also build one more variable called str underscore API key. Okay, so here let's go and see open advanced selector. So complete URL is what we need, and we'll also add something called str NASA static URL. Okay, so now in NASA static URL, let's go ahead and add this particular value. Okay, so here this is the complete URL. Let's go ahead and add this. Okay, so this goes with NASA static URL, and NASA API is the complete URL, and here we have API key. So let's go ahead and add an API key. Okay, and then okay, let's go ahead and give it out in double quotes, Control A. Okay, now what is the last step that we are doing is Control Shift T. So do I have this particular URL in static URL, str static URL, and I will also have API key in this particular URL plus str API key. Okay, now if hit on OK, just let's try to log the message before this. Let's try to log a message and see what is the complete URL we are getting. Log. So let's go ahead and log with this one and str NASA API. And let's go ahead and debug and see what's the value. Debug. So what do you think will be the value? Abjit?
Concatenation of these two variables.
Concatenation of these two variables. Let's go ahead and see that. Okay, so we have this particular message and this is the URL we have. So first thing, is it the same URL that we need to have? And when we compare with this,
No, that
the question mark and API key
it,
equality
it,
is missing, right? Okay, so
yeah,
what we will do, we will also construct that in this particular URL, and then we will continue. So let's go ahead and add this stop here. So let's go ahead and add Control Shift T. So add a plus and then add this one in double quotes. So in future, if they want to change the static API key, str API key, they can. So can someone, so let's go ahead and give out the API call And after that, can someone create their own API key and then give it to me so that I can make an API call request or API request? HTTP, HTTP request. Okay. So let's go ahead and do it out. Okay. Let's click on continue. Click on. So what are the property that we need to add in here? Property that we need to update? It's endpoint. So this is the way, this is the place where we are going to add the values. So which one should we add? Is it str API key, str static URL, or NASA API key? Which one should we add?
NASA API.
NASA API.
Exactly. So we are go with NASA API. So can we see that the authentication that we are making is with the API key, but API key is going with respect to the browser URL, whatever the URL that we have. Okay. So let's go ahead and make a request, and then let's also see the output. So here we have the result, str underscore API result. Let's go ahead and log message. So what is the message that we can have it here? str. Which message do we need here? Is it API key result a NASA API? Sorry?
API result.
API result.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and add that value. So I'm debugging the file. Let's go ahead and see what's the result that we are. Continue. So now, if we don't make an API call with this key, then we will not be able to fetch the result. Okay. So that is authentication by API key. And here you go with copyrights this particular value. So how can we make sure that we get some values from here, like copyright and all? How can you make sure we get copyright? Let's go back to the web browser and let's see those. So here we have some values, copy, and we have already pasted it. JSON viewer. Okay. So how can we get this value? Copyright value.
Do we need to convert this string to JSON object then deserialize JSON?
Exactly. So this is a string now. So if you want to use this HTTP request, you need to use something called JSON. Deserialize JSON. This is not an array because if you can see the message, there is no square bracket over here. It's only an object. Okay. So I'll go ahead and deserialize this object. So what should I pass in here?
JSON result.
Exactly. So I need to pass in JSON result, str JSON result. And what is the result that we are going to get? Object, J object of API result. Okay. Now this is not created, so I'll just create the variable. So at the bottom you have you will have J object now. So how to get one value out of it? So what should we send? J, is it J object or now string str?
J object.
Okay, why? Because we converted that string into object, and then what should we pass in here? See, whatever key you have, you can
Copyright.
pass, and then you can get the value. So if I just
Okay.
copyright, if I just use copyright, I'll just get the value like, okay, this is copyright dot toString. Okay, let's go ahead and see, are we getting the result or not? Run file, the output. We made this call and we have a result. So is this the same one? Okay, now what if I want to create a table out of this? And one more thing, what if I want to download this particular URL or download this particular image?
JObject of HD URL.
Exactly, super. But how to download it? I'll get the
One
URL, but how to download it?
type, one package is there, download files.
Download?
You can download files. Manage packages, that is from third party. You have to
Okay.
add from manage packages and you can download.
But see, not every company allows you to use third party. So then what you need to do?
You can open browser and download it.
Okay, that you can do. Any other options?
Taking screenshot.
Fine, but for that you need to open, right?
Okay.
Okay. See, this is also a HTTP URL, is it right? Is this a URL? Okay. So
Yes.
what I'll do, I will also make another HTTP request for downloading this URL. So I need not go with UI at all at this point of time. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll go with activities. I'll go with HTTP and then I'll make a HTTP request again, endpoint URL preview. So we are getting this preview response and raw body, but can you understand the image? Is this what we require? No, right? We are expecting some image.
Right.
There is also an option called download resource. Okay, so let's use this download resource. Okay, let's hit on OK and then let's give out a value called download resource. So you can see here that okay, we are going to get a result, but other than the result, we are also going to get resource endpoint here. Let's see where do we have these attachments. Body format options, we have output header result.
Resource path.
Yep. So here we have the resource path and let's give out image.jpg. Okay, and let's go ahead and give it out and connect this one. So whatever image that it's having, it will download with at the resource path. I'm giving it as static value. So let's go ahead and see whether this is working or not. And where it will download, can you please tell me where it will download?
Same folder where project is.
Exactly. So it will download in the same folder where the project is available. So we are running the flow. Okay. Okay, this is completed. Let's go ahead and refresh this. So can you see this image now? Okay. Now see, this is what you need to think while creating a solution. If there is already an API, then why should you go for UI? Okay. So one of the interview question can be, okay, I have a URL, I need to download a image from it. I need to make I can open it in browser. So if your answer is okay, I'll go to the browser and I will download it by right clicking it or taking a screenshot, then he will understand that you don't have advanced concepts. But if you are able to say that, okay, if that URL can be, if the URL has, if the image is directly downloaded with a URL, then I can make a HTTP call and I can download it as a resource. Okay, can you understand now?
Yes, Vajra.
Okay, so one important thing is, okay, now I have this particular image, but this is static file, is it right? So how can I make it dynamic? Meanwhile, I also, so This is the HD URL, right? So instead of sending a static value, can I just send JSON object of HD URL? So here we are sending out a URL, right? So this is a static value. Every time it goes out in the same way URL. What if I want to give a dynamic value? How can I change it as per the request that's made? So earlier we made a request and we got a result. From that result, we need to give it. How can we do that?
You can get JObject result.
Okay, let's go with JObject. API result of what do we need to give? HTURL. Okay, dot
HTML.
toString. Okay,
Okay.
but there is also one more thing. Okay, I have given this with endpoint URL. Okay, this will be updated dynamically. But what about this one, this image? This will be still static, right? Every time it will download with the same name. How can I get
I-
this one?
Either you can add date and time in the end.
Okay, any other options by others? Please unmute and talk so that we'll get to know your answers and I can say those are correct or not. It's better to get them corrected now than the interview.
You can add like image 1, image 2. You can increment the value, image 1.
Okay, that's a better option. What are the other options that we have?
You can use that same JSON object and add the .jpg in the end.
So you mean to say JSON object and add JPG then? Uh,
Yeah.
but which object should I use? I'm going to get
Uh,
the complete URL, right? So if you see here that HTTP moon same face dot JPG, we already have that name. So you mean to say that you should add from HTTP till moon JFace, everything should be there in the name of the file?
yeah, if it is possible, then we
It
should.
cannot be
I think
possible, right? You cannot have
yeah, yeah,
slashes. You
yeah.
cannot add a name with slash in it.
Now we can add like jobject.hdurl.jpg.
HDURL dot.
JPG. I mean object.jpg. Whatever you are
Okay.
calling from
So
the
you mean to
objects.
say,
Yeah,
okay, let's go ahead and add the same
the same.
request. Okay. And then
Last
what should I
line
do?
is
So I should just concatenate with .jpg at the end.
yeah.
Okay. Let's go ahead and try and find out the result. Run file. What is it saying?
The given path format is not supported. HTTP request.
Exactly. So here I'll bring in one important package or one important library. See, how are we
Okay.
getting string value using dot toString? So there is already some code that's written, right? So if there
Yeah.
is dot toString, then you need to give out some result. So there is something called path dot get file name is what we need to use to get file name out of this path.
Okay.
Okay. So what it will do, it will just give me the file name along with the extension. Now let's see what it will happen. Run file. So that is done. Okay, let's go ahead and see the values. Refresh. Can you see now?
Yeah.
Okay. So now along with this, there are multiple ways you can use path. So if you go ahead and see the path itself, it is having something like other than get file name, it also has see everything that is in blue color is like a everything with this diamond is like a function where it expects some input and gives out some output. Okay, and here if you want only the extension of the file, you can get it. If you want the directory of the file, you can get it. So in local file, you have some path, and if you want to get the directory name of it, you can get it. And file name without extension, you can get it. Full path, you can get it. Invalid file name characters, if there are any, you can get it. Okay, random file name, you can get it. So everything, you can get it. Okay, so that is there with respect to these paths. Is path routed, has extension, has temp path, get a temp path. So all these details you are going to get. So now I'm using, so I know that using get file name, I'll be able to get the file name along with extension. If I use get file name without extension, what I'll get?
You will not get that .jpg in that.
Yeah, so you need to give out your own extension at the end. Okay, so that's how it will work. Let's go ahead and continue. So now are you able to understand what exactly are we trying to do? It's not downloading the image, but understanding how to download resources in general while you are working in projects. Okay, so now I get it. So the requirement from my client is, okay, now you are able to get it. Now get me all the values with in a Excel sheet. How can I do that? So all these values, I need to get it in an Excel sheet. Daily it should be daily the Excel sheet should be uploaded or updated. So how can I do that?
You can create a data table, and then from the data table you can enter entries into an Excel file.
Mhm.
You can use append if you want to append a daily.
Excellent.
Directly we can add right range activity.
Sorry? Yeah, please continue. Sorry, I didn't get that.
Now we can add right range activity, right? Workbook right range activity can.
The right range you can write, but it will just replace the existing data. So the best option would be to append the data if you want to have data updated every day in the next line. But if you don't want that, you can use right range, but that will be updated in the first row only
Okay.
every day. Okay, so let's go ahead and quickly create the data table and then let's add it. So here is my code. So, but were you able to understand the flow? Like how exactly are we progressing? It's not just to understand the APIs, but how are we progressing? How are we creating output? So first I made the HTTP call. Okay, now I'm checking with these details and all the values. Okay, so here you go. And what I require? I require explanation, date explanation, and a HT URL. So instead of that, let's go ahead and let's create a data table. So what are the activities that we can use to create a data table?
Build data table.
Excellent. Build data table. So after building data table, what exactly will happen? What will happen in build data table? So there are column ones, column twos and all. So here we'll go ahead and give the values. So let's go with this. So there is copyright column and this belongs to a person. That's the copyright. Copyright. Okay. So the max length is available. So here we have something called, okay, date. So here I can just go ahead and edit the column. This is with string I can add, or else I can also add date, but it should be in date format. And what is the other one? Explanation. Click on OK. Let's go ahead and add one more thing. Explanation. It's a string. Then what else? HGURL. Okay. So this should be enough for me for now.
Max length we have not changed. It's -1.
So max length will not be sufficient. Max length -1. It can accept any number of characters if it is -1. If it is 0, it will accept 0 characters. If it is 10, it will accept 10 characters. If it is max length -1, it will accept any number of characters. Okay, now we build out the data table. So what is the property that we need to add over here? We need to give out some variable, right? Control K, dt underscore API table or NASA table. Guys, can you hear me? It's showing me that there is a bad network.
Yes,
Yes,
Madhu.
I'm here.
Yeah. So once we add it, so this is data table created, but how to add a row in it?
Add data row.
Add data row. So this will add a data row. So that particular data table. What are the inputs that it's taking? DT, NASA table, and there is a data row object, but there is also an array row. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and create the required array. So array will be in square flower brackets. Okay. So let's go ahead and pull out the values from here. So let's go copy, paste it here. So what are the details that I need? I need copyright, date, explanation, and HG URL, all these four. So how to get the copyright?
J object of J object result.
Okay, J object API result. So by default, it's throwing me this one. I can just remove the dot, copy, write it dot toString. Is it right?
Yes.
So if I want to add one more thing, let's add all the items. Let's add all the items. I need 4 items. So I'll just add 1, 2, 3, 4. I added all the 4. Now I will change the date. Date. Let's go ahead and add. First one is copyright. Second one is date. Third one is explanation. And the fourth one is HGURL. Click on OK. So now we created a data table and we added some rows. Now what we need to do?
Right range.
Again, append range is what we need to take.
Sorry. Range.
Okay, append range. Now in this append range, what are the properties that it will accept? So it will accept, I think this is an Excel card. So let's go with a workbook item. So here you have workbook append range. So let's go ahead and use it. Properties, use. So it's writing in sheet 1, workbook path. Let's go and give it as default. Data dot xlsx and data table. What is the data table? NASA table. Okay. So it will just add the values or append the values. Now there is an interview question, something like, okay, now when you add this append range, it will not add headers. Now how can you sort it out? Okay, find that and do it, check it for yourself. If someone knows the answer, tell.
By macro, I can insert.
In the properties, is there any headers
In
checklist
append
or
range, there will not be any headers.
okay? Is it necessary to add the headers when we are doing the append range? Because we are just adding the data
Okay, you
on
know
this
that this
build
is
data.
this particular
Okay.
data, but someone know if you send it to someone who how they will know.
Okay.
Okay, now see here. Okay, I have this information, but what this information represents?
Okay. Okay.
Okay, there is no such information. So one idea
In the build data table, I think there should be a one header
there is already a header.
property.
Header is already there, but it's not writing the headers in append range.
Okay.
So the other
Fine.
option can be Yeah, there is
From the
a.
properties
Sorry.
panel. Yeah, from the properties panel, we can check that headers thing if we have that
There are no
property.
headers here, Aparna.
Okay.
We can add headers and we can call the sheet. We can call the dependence.
Okay. So when there will not be any headers, when there is no sheet, is it right? If there is no sheet, then there will be no headers. Okay. So what I'll do, instead of writing it directly, okay,
So we make sure that we already create such sheet before using build data table. We give a structure to the
table is
sheet.
already there. So what exactly I can do is I can just add a, so let me just take away this one and I will just assign. So first I will build the path that I want. Okay, control K str file path, and then here we'll give data.xlsx. Okay, now what I'll do, instead of going out right away like that, I will use a if condition. Okay, so control flow or decision, I can go with a decision. So flow decision is what I can use, and I can check whether that particular path is available or path exists of str. What is this file path? So what are the option? What is the output that it will give me? Path exists. It will give me two values, right? True or false. If the path is available, then it will give me true. If the path is not available, then it will give me false. So I will use right range again. Right range, and that's a workbook activity. Now, if there is already a file, then don't create a new file. Just append the values. But if there is no file, then go ahead and create a file. Okay. Now what's happening here? Properties. In the properties. Now I need to give something. Starting cell is A1 and the data table is DT. That's a data table. And now you can add headers. Okay. And then the path or what exactly do we need to write? Value required for argument workbook is not supported. So path is str API static file path. Okay, now can you understand this logic now? So before writing it into the Excel, I'm just checking whether that particular file is available or not. If the file is available, then why should I write or why should I create it? No need, so append it. So if I don't have it, then write it. So let's go ahead and quickly run this flow and check. Well, did you understand this logic or not, guys?
Yes.
So here it is saying that path exists is having an issue. Why? We have given the path, right?
So it's a Boolean value.
No. So let's go ahead and keep a breakpoint over here and check what is there in it. Okay, debug file. Okay, so it is saying path exists. This type cannot be used in a expression. Okay, this is okay. It is not able to understand a Boolean value, so it is not able to create something over here. So what I can do, I can just assign the value. Okay, and okay. So and I'll give out here, and I'll give out here. So this is again control K bool path exists. So this will be added as a data value, and here instead of adding path exists over here, so this is not supporting direct code here. It is just asking give me only boolean value, then I will accept. Okay, variables. So what is the type of bool path exists? It's a Boolean value, true or false. Okay. Now what is it saying? Path exists cannot be used as an expression. So instead of path exists, can I say file dot exists? Yes, I can do that. So now it's checking file dot exists. If the file is available, then it is checking whether it is true or not. Let's go ahead and debug this file. Okay. Then just hit on continue. File. So what is the path of this one? Can you just check? So what is the path? Data.xlsx, right? Step into. So what is the value that you are going to get here? Bool path exists. So now it is false. So will it write or will it append?
It will write.
With headers. Continue.
Right.
So I'll just continue and this is completed. Let's see in the project. Refresh data.xlsx. Now can you see? You have complete detail along with their headers. Now will you get all the information that you require or not?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. Now what if I run it second time for the second time? What will happen?
It will allow the condition true only because we already have the file and with the headers.
Okay, let's go ahead and give it out a try. Okay, we have this one. Now step into. So here bool path exists. Now it is
True.
taking as true. Now what it
Yes.
will do?
It will append range only.
It will append in the sheet.
Exactly. So it will go into append range and it will continue.
Add the data.
Exactly. So now how many rows will we have in the range?
2 rows.
Exactly. Can you see this? No?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Now I have all the information. So were you able to, so I think we are done with the training for today, but were you able to understand all the steps that we are doing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what I'll do, I'll just commit the code. Uh, NASA API discussion. So guys, if you want to have files, you can directly get it from GitHub. No need to ask or check anywhere. Okay. Update the code. Push it to origin. So I pushed it to origin and you will be able to access. Okay.
Anyone can get this file from GitHub.
Yeah, anyone.
Okay.
Okay. But there is one important thing. See, while working on GitHub, this API keys and all are available by default for everyone. Now, anyone can use this and use my API key. Is it right?
Right.
So how can I change it? I'm removing it and I'll just give out a comment, add API key here, add NASA, add convert to variable. Sorry, um, where is this? Okay, convert to argument, right click and add annotation and your API key. So when someone publishes or uses this, they will get a notification or they need to give this API key or else they will not be able to. Okay, so I'll
Okay.
just make one more commit. Okay, and I'll push it. Okay. So that's it for today. I hope Ajay, you are able to understand all the required details, how to make an API call with authentication as well, right?
Yes, this was right. Yes, was right.
So you just need to change the properties and try to understand. That's it, nothing else. Things will be same.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, guys in the new team? Were you able to understand the concepts faster?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Okay, that's it for today. Have a great day. And for Team 6, adios. This is the last day, but you can still contact me through my mobile number and you can ask me questions. And right now, this is too late, guys. I have asked you to create your resume and apply for it. Flavia was able to do it. She is attending interviews. Great, Flavia. But others, we still need to have your resumes done. I cannot sit and work, do your resume for you, right? You need to create it for yourself.
Okay, was right.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a great day, everyone. Bye bye. And for new members, from Monday, we will start the sessions for you from the basic projects.
Bye, sir.
Bye bye.
Bye,
Thank
was
you.
And Ajay, uh,
Yes, was
just give me the feedback now. That should be great because we are done with the sessions.
right.
Okay?
Okay, was right.
Yep. Thank you. Bye bye.
Yeah.